guys, good morning. Laura with Garden Answer. Working on a couple of containers that I think are going to be so pretty. I have the most beautiful bunch of plants. I brought a lot of them out here. I'm not sure if I'm going to use them all, but my goal is to make something that glows at night. So I'm using a lot of white, light colored foliage, maybe a little bit of this butter yellow, but I was just really excited about all these. Wanted to show them to you guys. Also wanted to show you what I do to prep some of my containers. So you might recognize this one. This is the basket weave pot that MPG Planter sent over. I think it's been 2 years now, and I've been using them every year. I love the way the container looks, but it does have some wear. You can see right there where the finish is kind of wearing off, which I don't love, but I can fix it. It's super easy. In fact, I do this with a lot of my containers because we deal with hard water in our area. So I just do a light layer of wood stain. This is Minwax wood finish stain in the color Espresso. You can also use Danish oil. That works equally as well, and it's usually just like a once or a twice a year application. I am putting on gloves, which is something I used to never do, but now that we have Benjamin, I don't want to have super gross hands that to hold him, and he always wanting to suck on our fingers. So, okay, so I brought a paintbrush out. I just lightly dip it in and then just do a nice light layer. It will look extremely dark, but it will wear pretty quick and turn into kind of this nice lighter color. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish this up on both of my containers, and then I'm going to plant. So I think that they shine up really nice. They almost look brand new. So these are a resin type material, so you can paint these. You can also do this to concrete. I wouldn't recommend doing it to plastics. I don't know if that would even work. I've never tried it. Terracotta is so porous that it would suck the stain in unevenly unless you were going for kind of more of an aged look. I have dry brushed, like used a tiny little bit of stain on the end of a brush and kind of used soft brush strokes to make it look kind of muted, the terracotta color. So you can do that, it's just a little bit more tricky. Okay, so I already filled these with soil, which was probably not a good idea. It made them really hard to get over here. But I have not added my slow release fertilizer, so that's the first thing I'm gonna do. I don't even measure anymore, you guys. I just kind of dump it in like that. Work it into the top layer like that. And I'm going to start with the centerpiece, and I'm actually going to put this in the middle of the pot. A lot of the containers that I put together, I put it in the back because usually I have it backed up against something. And it will kind of, these will be up against a beam, but you will see them from all sides. So I want all sides to look kind of the same. So I'm going to make a little hole in the center. And that's one other question that I see quite often when I do containers is why I don't add extra soil when I plant my plants. It's because I usually fill my containers up almost all the way to the top because soil really compacts down. And all I have to do is make a little hole big enough for the root ball and then just kind of gently put the soil around the root ball. And then I don't have to go in and add extra, which I don't really like to have to do. So the first plant I'm going to start with, this is called a Skyrocket Pennisetum. So excited about this grass because of how white it looks. It has really heavy white variegation in it. It grows, I think, about 24 to 30 inches tall. So I think it'll be a really nice size for this pot. Doesn't that look nice? Like, we use purple fountain grass a lot. Like, I use that out in our True Drop self-watering containers along the fence line. And those are really gorgeous grasses. But if you want something that contrasts like a darker container, the Skyrocket Pennisetum is a really good one. It's an annual grass in most areas. I treat it the same as purple fountain grass. I think that's pretty, just like that. Okay, so the next grouping of plants I think I want to use are these. These are Bright Light's Double Moonglow Osteospermums. Now, if you are familiar with osteos, they typically, the flowers will close at night. When it gets darker out, the petals close, so you don't really get to enjoy them. The wonderful thing about these, and you can see right here, the center of these blooms have a lot of little petals. So it makes it really hard for those outer petals to close at night. So they do stay more open than normal osteospermums. Now, everything that I'm planting today, everything that I brought out here are very compatible. They all don't like to have wet feet. They like to dry out a little bit in between watering. And that's really important when you're doing a mixed container arrangement. They also are all very compatible in the light requirements. They all prefer part sun to sun. I am going to be putting these in an area that gets kind of part sun because the osteos don't like our heat. It gets really, really hot here. So that's the only plant I'm using that is a little bit more sensitive to that. So I'm making sure to put them in a spot where they'll like it. So I think I'm gonna do 3 and kind of just split the difference here and put one on each side of this grass. Look at how pretty that is. I was so excited. I saw these for the very first time last July when we were in Ohio at Cultivate at the it's like a gardening trade show, and I was just so excited to put these on my order this year. So these will grow about a foot. The grass will grow up like this, so we'll have a very nice centerpiece eventually. I know they look all about the same size now, and then these will be a nice filler. We'll add the third one in. See how many plants I can jam in this container. I don't know how big this opening is, but you know, you guys, a lot of times annuals, unless you're planting something extremely vigorous like Supertunia bubblegum, you really can get away with putting a lot in a container because we're just meant to enjoy them for a year. They don't need an enormous amount of room to spread out and, you know, like plan for the future, for future growth. So that's kind of how I rationalize putting so much in a container anyway. Okay, so the next thing I know for sure I want to use are the Super Bells White. I love this plant because they've got such a clear, bright white bloom. I think they're gonna be really nice in this arrangement. I think I'm gonna also do 3 of these, maybe like in between the Osteos, kind of like that. I wanna see. Yeah, I think the white with the color of the basket's gonna look really good. These are all nice full plants too. I think I'm gonna be able to use everything that I brought out here. Okay, the third one's going right back here. All right, I gotta stop. I gotta tuck my hair. Drives me nuts. Okay, now so for a foliage accent, I want something that's kind of weighty, that draws your eye, that gives your eye a little bit of rest because there's a lot of blooms going on. So I'm gonna use this Silver Bullet Artemisia. Look how pretty that is. Look at, with the Super Bells and the Osteo, how gorgeous that is. Now these will trail out about 14-15 inches or so, so they're not a super dramatic spiller, but I want to see some of this basket, and that was kind of the idea of using this one here. I kind of went back and forth. Do I use Creeping Jenny or do I use this one? I think this is going to be really nice. So that'll fill in this spot here. So I'm just going to again go in thirds. Ooh, this one's a little dry. I must have missed this one. So see how I'm able just to like make a little well with my hand in the pot? I can make room for that root ball, and it just pushes that excess soil over to where I can just kind of tamp in the root ball when I'm done with the excess soil. And most annuals, you guys, you don't need to break the root memory. It's really not necessary. That's something I've learned from the professionals that grow these things. Most of the time, unless it's like a big tree that's been in a pot for a really long time, most of the time it's not necessary to break that root memory. Okay, one more type of plant. Now, this is called a Diamond Frost Euphorbia. This is what's gonna make it over the top ethereal, make it look really just, yeah, I don't even know what word, I don't even know what words, I'm out of words. I'm gonna tuck these right in between the Osteos. And these will kind of fill in and be a nice little filler down here. And they don't need an enormous amount of room to grow, like root-wise. Oh, this is going to be so pretty. I can't wait to see this grow in, fill in. Okay, rest of them are over here. Is that a robin back there? Do you guys hear that? I think we have robins that are laying eggs right now, maybe? Or mating, I don't know. They're making lots of noise these days. Really pretty. And last plant. How many plants did I use? 3, 6, 13 plants. Overkill. There, I didn't have to add a single bit of soil, because adding soil, especially when you get to the last plants and it's getting really tight in there, it can be really hard to get your hands in there, or a little scoop of soil in there and not wreck anything or pop branches off on accident. That's why I prefer to fill my pots up most of the way. What do you guys think of this? I absolutely love it. I think it's just beautiful to begin with. Excited to see this grass grow. I love that it has the same, like it mirrors the same color in the variegation of the grass as the color blooms I chose. So I think it's just gonna be really fun. So now I'm gonna plant this one up, and then we'll move them over to the area where I'm gonna be keeping them, and we'll show you what it looks like in the end. All right guys, so clearly it's the next day. I'm in different clothes. We were moving the pots over and something else came up and we had to go take care of it. So anyway, life happens, right? So we're finishing the video this morning. So this is the pergola where I wanted to put them, and I think it's a perfect spot because the lighting's perfect throughout the day. It gets pretty strong light, but then it's protected during that really harsh part of the afternoon. And I think the colors look really great because they mirror the colors that I put in the urns back there. I used some white lobelia, Goldilocks Creeping Jenny, and some kind of blue toned helichrysum in those pots, so it just mirrors beautifully. So this video was really about a couple different things. I wanted to show you a fun different combination using a grass that's absolutely gorgeous that really goes well with all of these colors of plants, and then also how to revamp your pots. If you have pots that were looking like mine that need a little extra love, I just wanted to show you how I do that. Now, maintenance on these pots is really, really easy. These actually do not need to be deadheaded, so the blooms kind of just wither, go away, and then new ones replace right over the top of them. I can't remember what they call that, but they like bury themselves in the plant, so you don't have to deadhead, which is great. Nothing else needs to be deadheaded. The super bells don't. So everything should just play really nicely together in these containers. So I really hope you enjoyed seeing this. I'm excited to give you updates as the season progresses. Thank you so much for watching this video, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.